that's not where the Punk news ended this week. Obviously, we're going to talk about his promo here in a few minutes, but another big story going around. And look, people were talking about this as soon as Punk came back, and all it was just rumor and conjecture and people on social media hoping. Now it looks like there might be some more teeth to this story. This comes per Fightful. WWE has reportedly discussed a potential dream match pitting CM Punk against Stone Cold Steve Austin. Several higher-ups in the company are said to be pushing for the match to take place. And this could be why the Sports Illustrated report said that Punk against Rollins is likely, even though it's not currently the favorite to headline Night 1 of WrestleMania. It could be that they're looking at this headlining Night 1 if they can make it happen. But they say many in WWE are hopeful and even optimistic that the match will happen at some point. The idea is believed to have already been discussed with Punk, with sources noting that the ideal scenario would be for the two of them to meet in person and discuss ideas as a next step. However, it was also noted that there is a lot to get through first before the match can be made. There were a lot of people, myself included, who, months before WrestleMania this year, thought that Steve Austin was going to have a match again. The match with Kevin Owens went even better, I think, than most people expected. And he took bumps and, it was a good brawl. And he came out of it seemingly unscathed. And if you follow Austin on his Instagram and social media, in the months leading up to WrestleMania, so this time last year, he was in incredible shape. Posting all kinds of videos and workout videos, and it looked like he was getting in shape, if not for WrestleMania, maybe even for a Royal Rumble cameo. Like, he looked like he was getting in shape for a match. And then there was no Austin in any capacity at WrestleMania this year. And I think he may have said that the scheduling didn't work, he had some other obligations, whatever it was, but then he turned out not to be at WrestleMania this year. So we kind of go through this every year, and I feel like now that he got that one match done, we're going to probably go through this every year going forward, where as we get closer, it's kind of like The Rock. Is he or isn't he? On The Rock, we know the answer is no. He's not doing a match, no matter how many times he wants to tease it. Austin, though, he did a match. And so is it possible that he could come back if he's feeling froggy and he wants to do another one? Absolutely. We know this is a match that CM Punk has wanted for years. He was even wearing a Stone Cold t-shirt when he delivered the pipe bomb promo. Right? Their sit-down interview with Jim Ross to promote WWE 2K13 was so good. I was so disappointed when we did not get that match at WrestleMania 29. But I think at the time, Austin, he was coming off, I think, a major knee surgery, and that may have had something to do with why maybe he felt he couldn't get in shape in time for the match. But for years, Austin made a habit out of teasing that he could come back without actually coming back. It's like he wanted to keep hope alive, which is smart. As a businessman, I mean, think of all the paydays he could have gotten over those years for so many different potential dream matches. And he would tease it, and he would never close the door completely. It's kind of like never say never. I feel like if I wanted to, I could come back and have another 2-year run. Like, he would make all these comments. But the fact that he went 19 years and then came back, that's what made it so shocking that he agreed to wrestle Kevin Owens. To let so much time go by between WrestleMania 19 and WrestleMania 38. He waited until he was 57 years old. And suddenly he had a change of heart when there were so many opportunities for him to take the money with other people in between, including Punk. It truly was just the stars aligning at the right time for him. And they were in Dallas, right, where he started his career. And so he thought it would be cool to end his career where it started. Well, now it feels like the stars may be aligning again. Punk against Austin is the biggest dream match left for them to do, outside of Rock against Roman, for the people who want to see that match. And it doesn't mean that either one of those matches is a great idea once the bell rings. I mean, Rock could fall apart in an instant. Austin could fall apart. Punk could fall apart. He had his own injury issues in AEW. I look at this and I think, I wanted that match so badly 10 years ago and we didn't get it. And Austin had the perfect send-off in Texas against Kevin Owens. He even, again, took bumps. He looked good. Not great. He's lost a few steps, and It actually felt like he got better as the match went on. He was very slow and tentative those first few minutes, and then he seemed to get stronger the more beer he drank. You know, he took that suplex in the crowd on the concrete, but it was just such a great send-off for him. And he made it out okay. Punk and Austin would absolutely be a marquee match, and it's your night one WrestleMania main event if it happens, because there would be no bigger match they could do. The last thing you want is a Rock Hogan situation where they don't go on last and the crowd just dies for the main event. But what I would hate to see would be another debacle like the one we had in Saudi Arabia 5 years ago with Shawn Michaels when he came out. And I try to pretend that that didn't even happen. But after all those years, Shawn Michaels, he wants to have a little bit of fun with his friends. He decides to come out of retirement and it just turns into a total disaster. Triple H tears his pec. Right, they were wrestling Kane and The Undertaker, who weren't exactly at their best at that point. That match was god-awful. And bald Shawn Michaels was the only saving grace that kept that match together, but it was still sad to see him in there in such a terrible match. The fact is, if Austin is game to do it, though, you do the match. You don't say no to Stone Cold Steve Austin wanting to come back and wrestle CM Punk at the 40th WrestleMania. The key is the promos. The promos and the buildup are going to be better than the match itself. Let's be honest, right? I mean, if they're there cutting promos on each other for a couple of weeks at least, it's probably going to be better than whatever we get in the ring between the two of them. And the match itself does not have to be an all-time classic. You cannot judge a match like this through the same lens that you would Seth Rollins against CM Punk or Will Ospreay against Kenny Omega. It doesn't have to be a 4 or a 5-star masterpiece, but what is going to carry it, what I think would have people most interested in seeing it, are the promos leading up to it on television. Right up until the very end, they never announced that Stone Cold was wrestling a match at WrestleMania. They announced that he would be on the Kevin Owens show. He would be doing a talk show segment, and probably doling out a stunner. But they never said that he was working a match, and he never showed up live on television. He never made a single appearance on Raw leading up to that match. Kevin Owens had to spend weeks and weeks cutting promos on nobody. It would have to be different this time. I would want to see Austin on TV at least once or twice for a big face-to-face. Because if they do Austin against Punk and we don't get any big promo showdowns between two of the best talkers in the history of this company, then what the hell is the point of even doing it? I mean, the match is almost secondary to the war of words that these two guys could have. That's the missing ingredient that this match would need that Austin's match last year did not have. But if Seth Rollins wants to headline WrestleMania this year, he should be on his knees praying that he gets CM Punk and that Punk doesn't get Austin, because without Punk, I don't see it happening for Seth Rollins. And Rollins himself has talked about wanting to have that WrestleMania main event one day. He doesn't count the Money in the Bank cash-in that he had. He wants an actual promoted WrestleMania main event to his name. He still hasn't had one. So does Punk. Or at least he did. I mean, that used to be a goal of his. I don't know if he cares about that anymore. But they can both get that against each other. Otherwise, Rollins is going to have to wait at least another year.